Hi friends, I'm Sarah Martin with The Contoured Chemist. Welcome back to my channel. I don't know if you can tell that I did my makeup two different ways. We're doing another half a face tutorial today. Kind of a do this, not that, but not really. But some tips and tricks and troubleshooting. So if you've ever done the half face hack in a certain way, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you're new to Maskcara Beauty, this will kind of introduce it a little bit to you as well, but hopefully it'll help you if you're having any issues. So keep watching if you want to check it out. Be sure to like and subscribe so you see when my next video is live, and thank you guys for being here. All right, friends, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm gonna do another half a face tutorial to kind of show you and demonstrate what we're talking about today. So this one's for all my newbies. If you are brand new to Maskcara Beauty and have no idea what this card even means, I'm gonna kind of talk you through how I recommend starting, some things maybe I don't recommend that you might be seeing if you are researching mascara. So we're gonna do the I don't wanna say do not side. I'm gonna say that this side can cause you some issues as a newbie. Okay, so if you are brand new, Maskcara Beauty is 3D foundation. There's compacts of all different sizes. You can customize them. I pulled out one of my artist palettes today. You can get these as well. This one is a single layer, so I can have just my full face right here and I don't have to open and close. But I mean, it comes in every size imaginable, design, all the things. So let's start with the probably most popular brush recommended by artists to begin with. I wouldn't say necessarily by all artists, but by some artists. And this is the original, the 30-second hack brush. And I'm gonna show you typically how some artists show it demonstrated, and how some clients will start trying their makeup, and this is what can give them the biggest amount of issue. Okay, so I have 3 highlight shades here. Highlight shades are what is going to be typically thought of as like a traditional foundation, although it's nothing like a traditional foundation because they're just so much more pigmented. They also work on the skin differently than traditional makeup does. So with traditional makeup, if your neck is lighter, you can buy a lighter foundation and make your face match. With this makeup, you have to match the darkest tones on your face first, and then you can layer lighter shades over it in order to bring your face back down. But if you were to go in straight with a lighter shade on your face, you'll notice it will show texture. It will actually emphasize any kind of texture on your skin that you might not even notice before, pores, fine lines, and it actually won't last on the skin. And that's the number one thing I see, is that people are matched too light, and they're not getting any longevity from their makeup. So that being said, I use 3 shades, okay? Now it depends on the coverage you want. I use certain highlight shades as color correctors. Certain shades will color correct redness, dark circles, hyperpigmentation better than other shades. Me as an artist, I know those things, so I can help you pick out your colors. So if you need help with a color match, my questionnaire is always in the description box below my video, and I'm happy to help anytime you need help. So for me, I always use a color corrector. So with this method you see some people using, won't be able to use that application technique in this way. So I'm gonna show you the way I apply on one side and the way that you'll see it applied a lot of times on the other. So I'll be using just 2 shades on this side and you'll be able to see the difference. So number one, when people use this brush, they will use the pointed end because it was designed for highlight. And what they do, I'm just gonna show you in my main shade, they will swipe in and they will load their brush. Okay, so I'm gonna show you where we apply highlight, I probably should have contoured first, but we're just gonna go ahead and go in with highlight, and we're going to go under the jawline, and you can't see it very well on me. Maybe okay, so they'll go under the jaw. It's like really hard to see because it's like the same color as my skin. Okay, can you see that? Under the jaw, and they'll go along the forehead, nose. It's hard to do it on half my face. Chin, okay. And then they'll say, okay, go in with your brightener shade, which is how we brighten under the eye. They'll say, go in with your brightener shade under the eye, like so, in that kind of triangle formation. Okay, so then with the contour, I'm gonna go ahead and go in with Astoria. They will show contour, because this is really hard, because I'll explain why in a second of why all of these things bother me. Okay, then they'll swipe in with their contour, and they'll show right under the cheekbone there for contour, and along the forehead and then along the jawline here. And this is pretty much what you'll see in the hack face. Okay, so you can also do your nose. I'll just kind of show you with my finger because that brush is way too big. And they go along the side of the nose right there. Okay, so you can clearly see all of it, right? We can even get a little bit fancy, and some people even will show how you dot your lip and cheek color right there on the apples of the cheek. Okay, so I'm straight up looking like the hack face, right? Okay, so, oh, this is hard. Okay, so can you see that, like, I swiped it? Look how much contour and highlight is left on my brush. Can you see how thick and caked on that is? That's because I swiped in. Now I'm going to show you how I recommend to my clients and in their color matches, how they recommend going in. And then I will show you how I'll fix this and why it doesn't work. I'll explain on the way. Okay, so number one, I have redness and hyperpigmentation right here. And my nose is slightly darker than the rest of my face. And I have under eye circles that have blue and purple tones. So I'm gonna use my finger and I'm gonna barely tap, and I'm gonna get only that much product, and I'm gonna go all the way under my eyes in a very thin layer, and I'm gonna color correct. And I'm gonna do the same thing, and I'm gonna put a little bit on right on my hyperpigmentation. Now I'm gonna pick up a brush that might not have been designed for highlighting and contouring, but I have found is better for beginners, and that is the B squared, which is blush and bronzer, but this blush end is golden when it comes to applying highlights. Okay, now this is my color corrector. I barely touched it, okay? And since that's probably way too much because I dug in earlier and now it's all soft. Anyway, I am gonna just kind of distribute this where I need it. Okay, I have a little bit of redness right on the end of my chin, right in this area. Let's move that back here a little bit so you can see. And then I'm gonna buff it in small circles so I get the thinnest layer. Okay, and the reason for that is because if you apply too much, it will lead to lots of issues later. I'll show you. Okay, do you see how you can't even see that on my skin? Okay, but it's matching my darkest tones. It's gonna build up that coverage in thin layers, which is key. All right, now I'm gonna go in with my main shade. Again, barely touching it. And I'm gonna first go under the eye, and I'm just gonna slowly kind of pounce. I'm not pulling, that's a delicate area. I'm just gonna kind of pounce over, and I'm gonna bring my under eyes back to matching the rest of my skin. Now I'm gonna go, and I'm just gonna keep pressing. So I do the pressing motion, so I am not moving any of that color corrector I just placed. It's gonna stay exactly where I put it and give me more coverage exactly where I need it. Okay, but I'm just gonna, and I'm barely touching, like not with pressure, just barely tapping in, because again, thin layers is key. Okay. And this is slowly building up coverage. Okay, and this method can work whether you want a natural look or all the way up to full coverage. It's the same premise, you just use less product if you are going to want a natural finish. So can you see how it still looks like skin? All the things. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna contour this side, and I'm gonna show you how I do it differently than this side, okay? Same colors. So I'm gonna use the Detail Hack. This by far is my favorite option for beginners, is these two brushes. Okay, I'm gonna use this large side, and I'm gonna take it at an angle. And our contours are very dry in comparison to our highlights. So I'm just gonna kind of pounce, 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 with a little bit of pressure, but enough that I can see I have my product on that brush, okay? I'm gonna feel for my cheekbone, okay? Now, when it comes to contouring under the cheeks, I am a little bit more particular about placement because I want to do as little blending as possible. The cheek contour can be a little bit hard for people to get used to, for people to kind of learn, because you go too low, it can drag your face down. Too far in, you can like increase the shadow and make you look like you have a mustache, and it's not gonna give you that ultimate lift. So here is the general guidelines I go along. So kind of roll a pencil and feel for that cheekbone, okay? From the top of the ear to the corner of your mouth, that is the imaginary line you wanna go along, and then you wanna stop right along the corner of the eye. So really you are only going right here along that, under that cheekbone. So this brush is awesome. You can start up at the top of the ear because that will make your shadow the darkest, right? Up there. And you can feel that cheekbone and kind of hug and press right underneath it. And see how I'm just pressing the brush? I'm not sweeping back and forth. I'm not loading up my brush with a lot of product. I'm just gonna press right along that cheekbone, okay? It already has begun to blend out, okay? But I'm not even gonna blend yet, okay? Now I'm going to do the same thing, and this time I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of use my full brush, that's fine. Here I like to use the side of my brush so my stripe doesn't get too wide. If it gets too wide, it will kind of shorten the length of my face, and for me, it will drag my face down. Okay, so for the forehead, it's a little bit easier. I'm just gonna kind of press right along my hairline to give that shadow, to give the illusion of a smaller forehead. You don't have to contour your forehead, but that's how I do it. And then same thing along the jawline, again, starting at the back of the ear where your shadow would be darkest. And then I'm gonna kind of like, I feel for mine. So up under the jaw is where I like to keep it, okay? Then I'm, again, still gonna take this brush, and this time I'm just gonna kind of wiggle the very corner of that, this straight edge, and then I'm going to take it right down the side of my nose, up towards my brow. Sometimes I like to flip it over and use this small end to kind of finish and blend up into my brow. Okay, you can even use this small end to go under your lip and kind of give you a little bit of a shadow of the poutiness there. Okay, so there is that side. Now I'm going to Don't even have to, look, I barely used any. You don't even have to wipe off your brush. The brushes aren't holding on to a lot of product, okay? As long as you are not swiping in and getting too much product on your brush, you don't even have to worry about colors transferring, and you can use one brush for your full face, totally, okay? So now I'm just gonna use this small end and I'm gonna kind of tap it into my brightener, and I'm gonna go right into that inner corner first, kind of start laying down that product. Okay, I'm gonna go all the way up to that nose contour stripe, and then I'm gonna slowly just start pressing all the way from the side of my nose up to the corner of my eye, and I'm just gonna kind of slowly distribute that. Again, small pressing motions, not pulling at the delicate eye area, just using a very light hand. Now, even that much is too much for under my eye, but I will show how we remove excess. Okay, now I feel like I got way too far over here, but normally I also put it right in the center of my forehead, right there, and then I go down my nose contour stripes, and then also right in the center of the chin to kind of brighten. Now, if your neck is naturally lighter, you also should press it along your jawline in order to kind of tone down the warmth right there and bring in those lighter tones in your neck. Okay, so this side, I pretty much just applied. I didn't really blend as I go. As I did highlight, by that motion, you are blending. But if you wanna see, I usually just blend with my contour brush, and I usually just kind of flick the brush up. I kind of lift it a little bit higher and just keep pressing. And I like a strong contour, so I keep the bottom of that contour a little bit stronger, and I just press to blend. Then when I'm blending the forehead, I go up, and then I go down, and then on my jawline, I pull it down onto the neck. Okay, so if you feel like this is still too strong, pick back up the same brush you used the highlight with. There's nothing left on it, and you can just kind of press along that line until it is at a level of blendedness that you feel comfortable. That can take a little bit of getting used to, this strong contour. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to this side. This side is pretty much blended. I have not perfected yet. I will get to that in a minute. So let's pick up that brush again. I'm a little scared because there's still so much product left on that brush. Like that, I can't go into a highlight with. There's just too much left. There's too much. Can you see all that came off? So I am gonna wipe off my brush because the number one issue with this foundation is beginners use too much product. So that's why I showed. You also see a lot of times where people will show the hack face and they show all this product on the face so much that you can see it, but that is not how I recommend applying it, because this right here is so much excess. It is going to be difficult for me to remove enough that I will be able to wear this throughout the day. So you kind of need to know a little bit is that this is a cream foundation. So creams will actually hold moisture on your skin throughout the day. You don't have any of that water loss from your skin like with traditional foundations. So it can take a few weeks for your skin to adjust. And one of the biggest things is that people might feel sticky or tacky. And a lot of that is either their skin hasn't adjusted yet or they're using way too much product. You also shouldn't be going through a 10 of highlight in less than, I'd say, being very generous, 2 months. More like 3 or 4 for most people. So if you are hitting bottom pan in no time, it's because either you've been color matched too light and you're having to use way too much product in order to get coverage, which I see a lot, or you're just swiping in and you're applying way too much to the face. If you're sticky or tacky, I guarantee you're just using too much. And it's extremely common. I used too much in the beginning. It's kind of hard to get used to knowing exactly how much to apply when we've been used to traditional foundation. And these are just, I mean, I think 30 times more pigmented, makes a big difference. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just stick with the 30-second hack brush and show you how I blend. Now, this isn't my favorite end for blending, but I'll show you how I use it anyway. So, can you see how much product is on my face? Okay, I'm just gonna kind of press and feather, and I'm gonna try to blend this out for each location. So I'm gonna start with highlight because I don't wanna muddy up my color. So you saw on this side, I did not layer at all. So our contours actually do give coverage. You do not have to layer. This side, I got more of a medium coverage because I did layer and I used a color corrector as well. But for, if you don't have anything you need a color corrector on, and you like a really natural finish, by all means, just contour first. Just place the contour where you want, the highlight where you want, and you will have one layer of foundation, which is awesome. Okay, do you see on my forehead how it's streaking? Okay, that is 1, due to this brush, and 2, due to too much product. So if you can pull and actually see lines of streaks, you don't see that over here. Those streaks, that is because this brush tends to do that, but it's caused by too much. And I can't even like get that to blend out because it's just way too much on my face. Okay, so I'm gonna attempt to kind of go under my eyes. You guys, this is not gonna be pretty because why? I didn't match my darkest tones here. So my under eyes naturally are not this bright. So if you go straight in with a brightener, where you have darker tones, it's only gonna emphasize all of your lines and wrinkles, and it's not gonna give you that, it's not gonna give very much coverage. So you'll be able to see the purple, all that coming through once I get this blended out, of course, which might take a while. So the other thing with this method is it will take a long time to blend. I can do my full makeup face with a color corrector and building up to medium coverage in less than 4 minutes doing this way. This will take me more than 4 minutes just to blend out. So, okay, let's attempt this contour. Foreheads are easy. You just kind of blend up into the hairline. I don't feel like I applied way too much there. Okay, and then down into that highlight. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and wipe off my brush because I have excess contour on it. And I'm gonna use a pouncing motion and see if I can get this blended out some. Okay, so that helped a little bit. Now let's tackle this contour. So with contour, I'm just gonna start pouncing, okay? Now I'm not saying this method doesn't work. I'm saying that you don't need this much product. Our creams blend out so easily. This is a way of artists demonstrating how you just follow the face map and you actually can just blend it out because they blend so easily. But I feel like it gives the wrong impression to where you need this much of any shade. Like I've got so much on my brush. I find it wasteful to go through. You'll be going through the product so much more and it's gonna be hard. Do you see how much that is? Oh my gosh, that looks horrible. I have way too much on my face. It's just giving me this giant brown streak. Okay, lip and cheek, blend it out, fine. It's just this contour is gonna be the death of me. So, way too much contour. We can all agree on that, right? All right, so to actually fix it, here, let's try to do the nose a little bit. Again, this is too much because the key with nose contour, if you can turn to the side and still see the line, you've got too much. So I'm gonna use my fingers, kind of use the warmth of my fingers to blend that out. Okay, much better. But this part How do we fix that? The perfector. So if you are using Maskcara Beauty and you're not using this perfector, I'll be honest, when I first started, I thought this was just an additional item I didn't need. I figured it was just like a beauty blender. It is not. Once I learned how to use it properly, the difference is night and day, okay? So I always tell my peeps, like, I have a video over on my Instagram profile in the highlight bubbles. It's called The Perfector. Go watch that to see exactly how to get this perfect. Once you figure out how to get it at the perfect level of damp, I promise it is like the softest little pillow, and it will remove excess without removing your makeup. So on this side, I haven't used it yet. The main area I need it is under my eyes because I applied too much, and I have aging skin, okay, and I get creasing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish this side real quick so you guys can see what it should look like. So I mainly use it under my eyes until I have no more creases and I've removed all that excess. Because again, remember, I layered 3 colors under my eyes. That does not mean, you know, you are gonna have creasing or cakiness. It's all in learning the application and how much to use. And look, it still looks like skin. So I'm gonna take this all over my face and just kind of pounce it and get off excess so that it looks like skin, which is what is so amazing about creams. Okay, so now that that looks the way I want it to, I'm gonna go ahead and powder under my eyes. So I'm just gonna use the powder brush, our vanilla dust. I'm barely gonna touch it. I'm gonna take that. That's all I need, and I won't crease all day. Okay, so right under the eyes, I'm good. So one thing I haven't done on this side is lip and cheek. I am going to pull up same brush that I did my highlight with, and I'm gonna use this for my lip and cheek. And this is nude. I'm just going to touch it, okay? None of these need a whole lot. Like, everything is pigmented. Some of our blushes are more sheer than others, but you can use it on your cheeks and you can use it on your lips. Okay, so there you go. That side is pretty much done. I think the only thing I haven't done, the very last step is an illuminator. So in mascara world, that is the icing on the cake, the part that gives you a little bit glow. I'm gonna go ahead and use the perfector, and this is Angel. I'm gonna swipe in generously with this one. This is about the only thing I am generous with. And I'm just gonna press it on and it blends at the same time. So can you see as you move the face, that little bit of glow? That is our illuminator step. Okay, so let's go back and attempt to fix this. So I'm gonna use the perfector, and I'm gonna use it a lot. So I'm not saying you can't salvage this side. I'm saying that you're gonna need to use this quite a bit. This is the only thing that can remove excess if you get too much product. Now, if you are getting cakiness at all with this makeup, usually it's due to you applying too much or not having the right color and putting a powder over it. So the number one thing is usually excess product plus powder leads to cakiness. I never have anything cakey because I use very little powder, and I know I don't have excess because I removed it all. But if you have too much cream or too much powder, as long as you don't have too much cream, even if you could bake, put on a loose powder, that won't make you cakey. It's when you have too much cream under it. Okay, so you can see I've taken off a lot. Like, it doesn't look, it looks like skin again. I feel like it still looks about the same. My under eyes do not look, I don't know if you can see how textured that is. My under eyes are not happy. I don't like that at all. My contour just looks muddy to me. It doesn't look defined. It just looks, well, for one, I don't have much coverage through here. So can you see, I have a lot of freckling. I've got hyperpigmentation. So not using that mango through there and just using a contour, it doesn't give me good coverage on that area. So there are pros and cons to every method, obviously. This method is just not what I'd recommend for starters. You don't want to waste your creams. You want to learn how to use the smallest amount of product in order to get the coverage you want without it leading to you feeling cakey or feeling like you have a mask or feeling sticky or tacky. And I do feel tackier on this side than I do this side. Even though I layered 3 shades on this side, I did 1 layer on this side. And that's because of the method I used. So there's nothing wrong with there's other methods like the cheetah hack, where you kind of dot them where you go. Just know less is more. Make sure you're using your perfector no matter what. I actually do not recommend ever layering a shade unless you have this. When you start layering shades, that's when you're gonna have excess that you need this in order to remove, to press it into the skin, to make it look like skin again, so that you're not looking like you're wearing thick makeup. So I wish you could zoom in on this better, because when I look in my magnifying mirror, which I don't recommend ever looking at a magnifying mirror, but actually this is just a normal mirror, a really dirty one. I have so much more texture on this side of my face than this side, because I was using too much product. It kind of collect in your pores and it makes it look like makeup. So if that is something you're struggling with, I would try a different brush than this, or I would try a different application method. Try to keep layers thin, utilize this more. I feel like I'm just gonna sit over here and do this for a while. So one thing I did want to say is that with mascara though, there are no mistakes necessarily with creams. I can fix this. I probably would wipe off underneath my eyes though, because if you put a shade too light down, oh gosh, you really do have to use darkest to lightest when it comes to our highlights. So if you are matched to more than one highlight, make sure you're putting down the darkest first to match those darkest tones. Then you can layer to brighten, and use this to make sure you aren't getting any excess. But when it comes to my contour, I could build that up. I could totally fix it. I would grab this and I would just press it back on. So when it comes to placement with things, there are no mistakes. Like, you can easily just kind of use highlights or contours, add more where you need it, pull it back. Until you set it with a powder, it's not gonna set. So the beauty of creams are, they don't ever set until you set it with a powder. So I set my under eye, that's locked and loaded, but this side I have not yet. So I'll probably go ahead and color correct and fix that. But I hope you can kind of tell the difference. That helps a little bit with application method, knowing how to swipe in, the importance of a perfector. There are no mistakes, they can be fixed, but certain methods are definitely gonna help you avoid some of the troubleshooting issues we have, like feeling sticky or tacky, or it increasing the look of texture. Just remember darkest shades first. If you are having issues with anything being emphasized, you know, you might like a color corrector or something like that. So if you have any issues you need help with, I'm happy to help. Just fill out my color match questionnaire below and we will get you hooked up. So thanks again for watching. Love you guys. Bye.